On our station Legends Leaving, we'll be back this Saturday with more fun. We've put together this video to honor the famous stars who died today, May 25th, 2024. Legendary people who made important contributions to their works and who sadly have died today. We're sorry for the family and friends lost. Peace out. First, though, we'd love it if you showed your love by liking this video and following the station by subscribing. American Daryl Gerard Hickman was born July 28, 1931, and died May 22, 2024. He was an actor, screenwriter, TV executive, and acting teacher. The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, and Leave Her to Heaven, 1945, were two films he was in as a child during Hollywood's golden age. Hickman was born in Hollywood, California, and was the oldest of 7 children. His brother Dwayne Hickman is also an actress. Louis Henry Ostertag was his maternal grandpa. He was in the U.S. Navy and got the Dewey Medal for his service in the Battle of Manila Bay in 1898. Hickman got his start in films like The Star Maker, 1939, and The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, 1946. He didn't like child acting because he thought it took away from kids' normal childhood. After serving in the Army from 1954 to 1956, he went back to work and was in Perry Mason in 1957 and The Untouchables later that year. He got married to actress Pamela Lincoln in 1959 and had 2 sons with her. Hickman died naturally on May 22, 2024, at the age of 92. He left a legacy in film, TV, and acting school. Frederick Reed Roos was an American film producer and casting director who was born May 22, 1934, and died May 18, 2024. He was known for his work with director Francis Ford Coppola and other artists in the New Hollywood movement. He was praised when he won the Academy Award for Best Picture for The Godfather Part II in 1974, and again when he was nominated for Apocalypse Now in 1979. Roos was born in Santa Monica, California, and went to Hollywood High School. He then went to the University of California, Los Angeles, to study theater arts and movies. He started his work in TV as a casting director for The Andy Griffith Show. Later, he moved on to making films. Notably, Roos produced most of Francis Ford Coppola's films after The Godfather, such as Apocalypse Now and Youth. Without Youth, he was a judge at the 29th Moscow International Film Festival in 2007. As of May 18, 2024, Roos had died in Beverly Hills, California. He would have been 90 years old that day. Megalopolis, his last movie, had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival in 2024, just 2 days before he died. It was the perfect ending to his long and successful career. Morgan Valentine Spurlock was an American documentary director, playwright, screenwriter, and TV producer who was born November 7, 1970, and died May 23, 2024. A Tuesday, he directed 23 films and produced nearly 70 others. He won praise for Super Size Me 2004 and was nominated for an Academy Award. Spurlock also made the 2007 movie What Would Jesus Buy? And directed Where in the World is Osama bin Laden? 2008 in One Direction. This is US 2013 from 2005 to 2008. He both produced and starred in 30 Days. From 2013 to 2016, he led Morgan Spurlock Inside Man on CNN. Spurlock helped to start Sceneland and worked on G's Focus Forward promotion. After Spurlock admitted to a past of sexual misconduct, Super Size Me 2 Holy Chicken had trouble getting released in 2017. He died on May 23, 2024, a Tuesday at the age of 53 from problems caused by his cancer. Spurlock also wrote plays. His 1,999 and 2,000 work the Phoenix won awards. Spurlock made I Bet You Will for MTV. It started out as a web show of people doing tricks for money. Documentaries like Brothers Keeper and Hoop Dreams gave him ideas. Spurlock was married twice and divorced both times. He had 2 kids with each wife. He was raised as a Methodist, but later in life he called himself an atheist. Having problems with his cancer caused him to die at the age of 53. There are different reports about where he died. The New York Times says he died in New York City, and Variety says he died in upstate New York. The Dutch director Rudolf Michel Spoor was born on August 16, 1938, and died on May 23, 2024. He was best known for his work at the Netherlands Omroep Stichting Noos for more than 40 years. He famously took pictures of important events like Apollo 11 landing on the moon in 1969 and Prince Willem-Alexander and Maxima Zorreguied at Cheruti's wedding at the Nieuwkerk in Amsterdam in 2022, which includes the famous picture of Maxima crying. Spoor died on May 23, 2024. He was 85 years old. Many people were saddened by his death, and famous people like the Dutch King, Queen, and former Queen paid respect to him. From August 2, 1955 to May 23, 2024, Caleb Carr lived in the United States. He was an author and military scholar who was best known for his important books like The Alienist and The Angel of Darkness. He was born to Lucian Carr and Francesca von Hartz. He wrote a number of well-reviewed books and gave military and political articles to major newspapers and magazines such as The Washington Post and The New York Times. Carr was very skilled in many areas. He taught military history at Bard College and worked in theater, movies, and TV. Even though Carr had a rough childhood full of chaos and abuse, his home was also a place where people learned and made art. He took care of plays and played guitar in a band called Hell and High Water at night. Carr worked on the Opera Merlin with composer Ezekiel Vino in the late 1990s. It had its world premiere at the Paris Opera House in 1999. Carr lived on Manhattan's Lower East Side, but he found peace and inspiration at his family's home in Cherry Plain, New York. In 2006, he moved there forever. Masha, a Siberian stray cat, lived with him until she died in April 2022. He loved her very much. Carr told everyone in 2024 that he had fatal cancer. He died at his home in Cherry Plain on May 23, 2024, at the age of 68. Joy McKeon was an Australian country music singer-songwriter who was born on January 14, 1930, and died on May 25, 2018. She was known as the Queen of Australian country music and a pioneer in the field. She was married to Slim Dusty and managed him. Their daughter, country star Ann Kirkpatrick, was born to her. A lot of Dusty's fans love McKeon's songs. For Lights on the Hill, which came out in 1973, he won the first Golden Guitar. Over 100 CDs and 8 million records were sold in Australia alone because of McKeon's work with Slim Dusty. In recognition of her work in the entertainment business, she received the Order of Australia Medal OAM in 1991. In 1983, she was given the Australian Roll of Renown. McKeon had an impact on more than just music. The Tamworth Country Music Festival and the Country Music Association of Australia were both started by her. In 2020, the documentary Slim and I showed McKeon's contributions to Australian music. It showed how good she was at writing songs and how hard she worked to keep the Slim Dusty show going. I Don't Believe You, McKeon's last song, which she wrote with her grandson, was praised for being honest and moving. McKeon's influence continues to inspire people who love country music today. She died of cancer on May 25, 2018, at the age of 93. She left a lasting mark on the music scene in Australia. He was a French singer who was born on January 28, 1952, and died on May 25, 2018. Known for having a unique voice and writing a lot of songs, born Jean-Louis Berget in Chamelia, France, he grew up surrounded by music and developed a love for soul, jazz, and blues. Even though Murat had a rough childhood, he followed his singing dreams and recorded his first songs under the name Murat in the early 1980s. At first, Murat's work didn't do very well, but in the late 1980s, hits like C.G. DeVay's Manker de Toit and the album Cheyenne Autumn Gang Autumn gave it a boost. He became better known in 1991 when he worked with Milan Farmer on the song Regrets. Murat was a very versatile artist who tried performing. He was in Jacques Doyon's movie La Vengeance d'Une Femme and later made his own musical movie called Mademoiselle Person. He stayed very close to Auvergne, the region where he was born and raised. The countryside and nature there gave him ideas for his poetic songs. During his career, Murat put out a lot of albums, and many of them were supported by long tours that showed how his music changed over time. Because he was a Buddhist, he backed the Tibetan cause. When Murat died on May 25th, it was the end of an age in French music. He left behind a body of work that is still creative and innovative today. The British writer Emily Morgan was famous for making a big difference at ITV News, where she worked for 20 years as the health and science editor. Morgan is from Banbury in Oxfordshire, and her work path shows how dedicated she is to writing insightful stories. Morgan went to Seaford School and then Lancaster University, where she studied theater, culture, and communication. She then went on to get a postgraduate degree in journalism at the University of Central Lancashire. In 2001, she started her career as a reporter at Independent Radio News, where she put together and read news stories. Morgan quickly moved up the ranks at ITV News, going from working as a writer for Tom Bradby to being an on-camera news reporter who covered big events in Wales and the west of England. Because of how hard she worked and how knowledgeable she was, she quickly became a political reporter. Morgan was the health and science editor for ITV News and had a big say in how the network covered the COVID-19 pandemic in the UK. She did a lot to help the public learn about important health issues, from reporting from inside COVID wards to looking into problems with PPE contracts and long COVID. Morgan's work as a writer went beyond the pandemic. She wrote about things like patients going to private hospitals because the NHS had long wait lists and the long-term effects of climate change, such as the coverage of the Pakistan floods in 2022. Morgan's love life was changed when she married Rob Kinnaird in 2009 and had 2 girls with him. Even though she lived in Hurstpierpoint, which is close to Brighton, her work took her to many places across the country, which shows how dedicated she was to her job. Unfortunately, Emily Morgan's amazing journey was cut short by lung cancer. She died on May 26th at the age of 45. People who work in media are still inspired by her bravery as a reporter and her work to protect public health. Even though he was born with congenital glaucoma, Andrea Bocelli overcame many hurdles in his life to become a famous Italian tenor. Bocelli was born in Tuscany in 1958, and he was blind from a very young age. Even so, he loved music and learned to play the piano, flute, and saxophone. With the help of his family, he followed his dream, paying for his schooling by performing at clubs while studying law. After work as a lawyer for a short time, Bocelli decided to become a singer and began learning with tenor Franco Corelli. His ability quickly spread around the world, and legends like Pavarotti praised him. He sold millions of albums. Bocelli's journey shows how to be strong by turning hardship into victory. Bocelli was in danger of losing his sight because he had congenital glaucoma, which causes high eye pressure. Still, laser and filtering surgeries helped him keep some of his sight. He still inspires people with his music today, putting out many records and even working with his kids. Bocelli's marriages and children show how much he values family in his personal life. Even though he had problems like splitting up with his first wife, his marriage to Veronica Berti and the birth of their daughter Virginia are signs of hope and rebirth. Andrea Bocelli's story shows that if you work hard and are passionate about what you do, you can get through anything. With his unwavering determination and amazing skills, he is a source of motivation for many people around the world.